That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Blood Red Sky, the sixth film directed by Peter Thorwarth that premiered on Netflix July 23rd, 2021.
Do I know any of Peter's other films?
No, I don't believe they've been distributed in the US.
Oh, okay. This movie was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
The only reason I decided to watch it was because it was #1 trending on Netflix. But yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised. The basic story is a transatlantic flight is taken over by hijackers. Unfortunately for them, there's a vampire on board. Her name's Nadia. A lovely lady. She's traveling with her son. The way vampirism is presented in her is more sort of like a virus that she's trying to manage. So she seems like, I guess, like a good vampire. She's not trying to feed on people. She takes medication to quell her urges, and she consumes animal blood. But she's on the flight because she's been working with a doctor who's prescribing her the medication and has a new treatment for her. So she has a very sort of like strict and detailed travel plan to stay out of the sun. So when the plane is hijacked, obviously she's concerned, but when she learns that the flight is being redirected, she panics. Then her son is taken. So a big bulk of the film is her trying to overcome the hijackers to then get the plane back on course, but also like secure her son. But everything culminates with someone becomes infected with vampirism on the plane, and it's not her fault. This person took her blood like with a syringe because they wanted to be a vampire. And then ultimately everyone becomes infected except her son and another passenger who they had met before they boarded the plane, who agreed to help her with her son. Fareed. So Fareed and the son end up not being infected. They get off the plane, and the hijackers had intended to blow the plane up over London. So once the plane is landed, Fareed and the boy are off. They detonate the bomb to kill all the vampires on board because all the passengers become infected. The end. All right. Where do you want to begin?
Why don't you start?
I'll just go through my notes. So what is the little boy's name?
Elias.
The little boy Elias, he has to go to the airport first to check in and check luggage because it's still daylight. So the mom is like, I'll wait till the sun goes down and then I'll just scoop in really quickly. And that's when Elias meets Fareed. But I had a question. When he checks his bags, one of the bags is super, super heavy. One of the suitcases. Did we ever learn what was in that suitcase?
No, I assumed her medication. It reminded me kind of like of Dracula and having to
carry his soil.
Put his soil in the coffin.
That's what I thought, but it never was brought back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the way the story is told is kind of in reverse. So the film starts with the plane landing.
In Scotland.
In Scotland, which is not the original endpoint. And then we see like law enforcement trying to like ascertain what's going on because during the flight there is communication with air flight, whatever. So they know that there's a situation. The hijackers are not... How do we explain this? So the hijackers had a plan to make it seem like Muslims were responsible.
Right.
But none of the hijackers are Muslim. So they basically like tricked 3 Muslim gentlemen saying that they were going to some convention to board them on the same flight. And then they forced them to read like a note saying that they're doing this for Allah or something like that. Right?
Yes. And then on the periphery, we learn that... bits and pieces we get from the news about it being an overheated market and blah, blah, blah. Like other passengers vocalize like, oh, they're making it look like a terrorist attack like 9/11 because it'll
crash the stock market and then they can make a bunch of money. But Fareed is one of those gentlemen. So he's the one who actually reads the notes. So when the plane lands, which is the beginning of the film, the law enforcement agents just assume that he's a terrorist. So I thought that was a very interesting component to the story. It was very frustrating to watch. because really he's kind of like the hero of the story, combined with Nadia. But yeah, when we first see what the hijackers like are up to, they kill those air marshals so quickly.
Yeah, they do. Very...
Things escalate very fast, which is probably okay. What we're gonna there's a lot I liked about the movie, but I think I should talk about what I didn't like first.
Okay.
The movie is long.
It is about 2 hours, right?
It's over 2 hours, and it feels long because things happen so fast that at the hour mark, I was like, okay, so...
I think it feels long because we're stuck in kind of the extended third act between that cat and mouse between Nadia and the hijackers, who end up being led by kind of what I thought was kind of there's always the cliched sadist in these. His name is 8-Ball, played by Alexander Scheer.
Is he the gay one?
Yeah.
He's the bad guy.
The one who likes to kill children, who is inordinately cruel, etc.
He's the one who wants to become infected by Nadia.
Yes.
Yeah.
And kind of the others keep him in check, which are all... They're all notable character actors. Dominic Purcell from... I know he was in Blade Trinity. He's kind of their leader.
Who's the bald one?
That's the bald one, the leader.
I liked him. He has a really nice voice.
Yes, and then of course there's the Danish actor Roland Moller, who you've seen in Skyscraper, I know,
Okay.
but he's a big Danish actor. He was just in Riders of Justice, and Land of Mine was a big film of his. He also is kind of keeping him in check and gets killed.
So the bad guy, the gay one, he is on the flight acting as a flight attendant. Mm-hmm. He was out of control.
Yes.
He made a really good villain.
He did, but in that way that I still think is a little bit cliched. Like it's there's always that one that wants to go overboard for no reason that we ever know why.
It does check the boxes, but I mean, he was frustrating. Like I was looking forward to him being demolished.
Sure, but it's almost like I wanted it to be more interesting in a way that his survival isn't just based on his cruelty. But
another thing I didn't care for is I thought the little boy, the acting was a little crunchy. Also, the characterization, he's that kid in a movie who just does all the things he's not supposed to do.
Sure.
Like he doesn't listen, which then leads to bigger problems. That was a little frustrating.
Like
a little.
Carl Anton Koch.
But that's where it ends. I think for the most part, this was a really well done story. There's something for everyone because like I was saying before we started the video, I feel like it's giving you like all of those, which you can list off, like those hijack plane movies.
Yes, especially from the 1990s. But this also reminded me of 7500, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Also a plane taking off from... in Germany. That's
actually
hijacked.
I would say to me this movie is a mix of like 7500 with like 28 Days Later.
Sure, there you go.
Kind of, yeah. So,
but less snakes on a plane feeling than that sounds.
Yes, because just telling the basic story about how like hijackers take over a plane with a vampire on it, and then you find out everyone turns into a vampire. It sounds ridiculous, but I think it's done very elegantly.
Yeah, I agree. It has a lot going on, and sometimes that is to its own detriment, I think. Again, I was interested in all that stuff in the periphery. Like, I kind of wanted a greater characterization for these hijackers, some of which aren't shown to be completely terrible people.
Right.
And you know, what makes them tick.
But the best part of the movie is that damn lady playing Nadia. What's her name?
Perry Baumeister.
Who I thought was like, if you mix Who and Who.
Well, you said Heidi Fleiss and Noomi Rapace.
Yes.
I agree on Noomi, but she has kind of that angular Mai Wen face.
And when
well.
she turns into a vampire, she was giving me a little Jada Pinkett Smith.
Jada Pinkett as Nosferatu?
Yes, yes. I thought that lady did a fantastic job.
That would be an entanglement.
She did a fantastic job because 50% of the film, she's in makeup.
Yeah.
And I thought like the way she presented emotion with the costuming and her like physical acting was very effective.
Yeah, to me, she's by far kind of the best part of it, and the empathy that is evoked through what the sacrifices she's making for her child. I didn't recognize her, but she is in a film I like called Wetlands that I haven't seen since 2014, starring Carla Jury. If you want kind of a in-your-face sex comedy, that movie is for you. I think for a while now we've gotten lots of instances of vampirism as a disease that might be able to be cured by the medical community. There was just a film in Tribeca this year, My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To, which I think you came in.
That's a Debbie Gibson song. Okay.
With Patrick Feet as the brother and sister that are going out and procuring prey for their ailing sibling.
Okay.
Also, the hunger, of course. But to me, these films all have to be stacked against something like Claire Denis' Trouble Every Day with Beatrice Dahl and Vincent Gallo, which that's the zenith of that for me.
Okay.
I think Nadia, the name, might also be maybe an homage to the Michael Almereyda film Nadia from I think '94 that David Lynch produced, an art house vampire film. But yes, I did really liked everything about her. I could have had her more on screen as well.
Yeah. So it's giving you like the action enough. Like I think it satisfied that. It satisfies like the vampire component. I also think it was pretty creepy, particularly because the story is told out of sequence. Throughout the film, we get flashbacks to how Nadia became a vampire.
And I think those are all kind of great moments because she's usually knocked out or incapacitated. So it's, almost like she's going through it in her own mind as well.
Yes. And I thought that entire like flashback sequence was very well done. Because what happened was she was driving with her husband, Nikolai, I think is his name, and their child, Elias, when he was a little baby, in the little Volvo station wagon in the middle of the night in the snow. Like it's dark, it's already creepy. The car breaks down. Nikolai goes to look for help. He doesn't come back for a while. Nadia goes to look for him. She stumbles upon the damn Blair Witch House. And that was creepy. Then we see like some vampire trying to attack her. She kills it. Then we get flashbacks of her going back to the house, trying to find answers, finding the father of the vampire who bit her, who's also a vampire. And then they have it out. She kills him too. I thought if you put all of that together, that would have made a really creepy, 15-minute like short film or something.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was well done.
And it's very welcome to visually get us out of the plane as well, which is the most aesthetically pleasing environment all the time. But it was shot by Yoshi Heimrath, who also works quite a bit with Burhan Kurbani, including the remake of Berlin Alexanderplatz in 2018, which is kind of this neon-infused contemporary take on the Doblin novel.
I don't know, you already mentioned films that are kind of similar in theme, but something that I thought was unique, or at least I hadn't seen, was we see Nadia, like, when she first starts to see the effects of being a vampire, she's pulling her fangs. So she pulls them out, and then she wears a flipper to make her smile look normal. And I thought that was a really interesting touch. I hadn't seen that before. Maybe you have, but...
No, I don't think so.
I thought that was pretty unique. My last note is one final crunchy bit. So they treated Farid like he was a straight up like terrorist, right? They provide him with no humanity, no human rights. They drag him off the plane to go throw him in jail. But then when they realize that there are vampires on the plane, because now they're coming out, and then there's the explosion, they just let him run off the thing.
Yeah, that was the...
I thought that was...
They let him go embrace the child, and at least in America...
Yeah, he would have been dead already, so I don't know how they just
maybe they're a little lax in Scotland, I don't know.
Yeah, that ending was a little like, but I really enjoyed this. Do you have anything else?
No.
What would you give it?
I'd give it 3.5 out of 5. I was very pleasantly surprised.
I would give it 3.5 out of 5 as well. I thought I read that maybe there might be a sequel.
I could see that, but...
I would like to see Nadia.
Well,
see what she's up to.
Well, she dies.
Oh, that's right. Oh, then never mind. Well, I would still watch. If the same person did it, I would watch it.
Yeah, the director. But again, like the it's like when they killed Lin Shaye in Insidious.
Maybe it's a prequel. Yeah. Maybe it'll be like how she found the doctor who treats her.
Yeah.
Because that's something that the film doesn't explore. Is like, how does she find a doctor to not only like confide that she's a vampire, but also, or maybe the doctor's a vampire.
They could
see. There could be another movie like a prequel.
Yeah, Romance with the Doctor, like Susan Sarandon and The Hunger.
Okay, this is long. Anything else?
No.
Bye.
Bye.